Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Have you bought your turkey yet? And I know some of you have been debating the age-old question: should I get a fresh turkey or should I get a frozen? And there's a lot of variables. Let me tell you about my experience with uh, getting a fresh turkey one year, and that's the only year that I ever did it. Because after that, um, let me tell you, the cost of a fresh turkey is astronomical. Is back at the time I lived in Alameda, and so we had some great butcher shops in Alameda. One of my favorite was Scalise over in the Encinal Market. And then we also had your typical Safeway Birds, and then I also went up to Piedmont because there was back at that time there was some meat markets along Piedmont that I knew in the markets there, and uh, we could get some deals. But anyway, the fresh turkey. The biggest disappointment that I had with a fresh turkey was that I picked the turkey up just 48 hours, 2 days before Thanksgiving, and the turkey was processed the day before, so it's a very fresh turkey. And the thing is that if you've hunted, if you've processed meat in the past, you know that uh, the body, any animal's body, will go through what is known as rigor, and there's a period of time that has to pass. And there's I've made mistakes in the past with duck, and then also with other birds, fowl. Uh, you have to let the meat relax, and then that's what relaxes the all the muscle fibers, and it's not so chewy. Like because that one year that I got that fresh turkey, it was a big disappointment for the entire family because we had advertised to the entire family that we're going to get a fresh turkey this year or that year, and rather than a frozen one. And so everybody was really excited. Oh, wow, we're going to have something really fresh. We're going to have, and so there was a lot of anticipation. And then when it actually came time to cut and serve the turkey and for the consuming, it was a big letdown, uh, especially when we compare it to the previous year. The previous year, we had a frozen turkey, and yeah, we had just kind of the run of the mill Safeway brand, house brand turkey the year before. But because we have so much experience cooking turkey and everything, that it's always very flavorful. It looks really good, and it's tender and juicy. Because you can get a store-bought turkey and cook it absolutely perfectly, and everybody enjoys it. But this one year with the fresh turkey, that fresh turkey, let me tell you, this was a big bird. I bought a 24-pound fresh turkey. So that means prior to the bird being processed, that bird was nearly 40 pounds. That was a 40-pound bird. That was a huge turkey. And so, anyway, picked it up 48 hours prior to Thanksgiving. I thought 48 hours would be enough for the muscles to relax. But obviously it wasn't, because it was still pretty tough uh, when we served it cooked on Thanksgiving Day. It was pretty juicy, I have to say. Having a fresh bird, it is much uh, more moist and juicy. There was a little bit less tending to during the cooking process because the bird was naturally very juicy, and we got a lot of drippings off of it for the gravy also. So there's some good points to it. The flavor was different. It tended to be a little more gamey, because here's the difference between a fresh turkey and a store-bought turkey. Store-bought farm-raised turkeys are all grain-fed. They are fed grain, whereas your fresh turkey, they're more of raised in an open environment, free to move around, and they eat more naturally. And so when they eat more naturally, they have a more gamey flavor. And so that's one of the things that I need to warn you about. It is not the same as buying a frozen turkey from your store. The flavor is different. And the reason why the flavor is different, because your store bought turkeys they are all injected with a saltwater brine. And that's to protect the meat from freezer burn and from drying out during the storage and the freezing process. Whereas a fresh killed and processed turkey doesn't go through all of that. But the downside is that you may have a tough bird. And I, the next year, the entire family told me, don't get a fresh turkey. Do not get a fresh turkey. That was not that good. And even my wife at that time said, we're not going to buy that again. And let me tell you, that turkey, I forgot to tell you how much I paid for that thing. It was nearly $100 for that 24-pound bird. $100 for a fresh bird. Whereas the year before, I think I spent like $5 on the turkey for a 20-pound bird. So significant difference, significant flavor difference. There's also significant texture difference. It feels different. It feels more natural in your mouth, whereas the frozen one has kind of a grainy, a little different texture to it because of the freezing process, whereas a frozen, or not frozen, a fresh turkey doesn't go through that process, and the muscles don't separate during the freezing because there isn't any freezing. It never froze. It was refrigerated, but it was never froze. So those are my experiences with a fresh versus a frozen turkey. And personally, I like the frozen turkeys. Number one, they're not much cheaper. They're much easier to go through and cook. And there's a lot more things that you can do with a frozen one versus the fresh turkey. And if you do buy a fresh turkey, get it at least a week in advance and just keep it well refrigerated until Thanksgiving, until you cook it. Or you can cook it and then just lightly reheat it the next day, because that's what I'm doing myself. I'm making things ahead of time for things that will store ahead of time. The mashed potatoes I don't worry about because I'm using instant mashed potatoes this year. And the reason why I'm using instant mashed potatoes is because there's so many new flavors out there, and it's so much easier. It's a lot less hassle. All you have to do is just literally boil water or warm milk and stir it in and use a whisk, and it's light and fluffy. You never have any lumps. You have cheese flavors, you have garlic flavors. There's a lot of different mashed potatoes, and plus they don't cost any more than fresh. They do taste different, so I do have to say fresh mashed potatoes are a pleasure. And when I make them, I don't use milk, I don't use water, I use sour cream, and to make it light and fluffy, and it gives it an incredible flavor. Add in a little bit of garlic for your garlicky mashed potatoes, and then on top of that, you can add in some butter to make it really rich with that sour cream. You don't need to, and but some people want that. But the instant mashed potatoes hold up well with gravy. So that's why I use them. It's so much easier, and it's one less thing that I have to worry about, and I don't need time to prepare them in advance. All I need is enough time to boil water, to mix, literally about 15 minutes to make the mashed potato dish, and then put it into the oven, kind of brown up the top, sprinkle little chives on the top of it just for uh, uh, the eye appeal. And so things can be made ahead of time. Stuffing, you're going to see what I'm going to be making in terms of stuffing for Thursday, because I'm going to do it this weekend. And it's a stuffing that I've used for decades. My wife and I came up with this way back in the 90s. So we've been using this a long time. And it's apple sausage stuffing. And we use uh, honey crisp apples inside of there, along with all the Jimmy Dean sage sausage. So there's your apple and your sausage. And then we add in all the celery, the onions, and all the other herbs. So you're going to see that. And it's real flavorful. It's extremely aromatic for the home. It makes the, the home very festive smelling for the season. So uh, tune in for that one. That'll be, like I said, I'm going to be working on that one on Saturday and post it either Saturday night or Sunday. So that gives you plenty of time to go out and buy the ingredients if you wanted to make the exact same stuffing for your Thanksgiving Day. And then I'm going to be doing the deviled eggs like you just saw in the previous video. And those are always enjoyed. But when I actually make mine for my get together, I'm going to be doing finely chopped onions into the yolk mix, and that gives it a nice little tang, a little oniony flavor to it, and it's different, and it's really good. And if you really want to make it decadent, really fine chop some chives and bacon bacon and chives on top. It is incredible. It's very decadent. I mean, it looks really appealing. And once it hits the table, that tray is empty in minutes. Thanks for joining me today. Have a happy Thanksgiving if I don't get back to you.